Well, what a week to man, I can tell you, what a week so far for Sonic Rants, if you will. Oh, brother. I mean, like this old saying goes, if it ain't one thing, it's another, right? Well, if it ain't this, it's that. If it ain't that, it's this. I mean, I tell you folks, hold on for a second. There we go, get the whole picture in there. There we go. Well, I tell you folks, what a week for Sonic Rants, if you will. Now, I know some of you are not going to like what you're going to hear here, but I will provide a link to some of these. And if these are in multiple parts, this video is in multiple parts, I apologize. But it's just, like I said, what a week, huh? First of all, there is one fan, and again, I'll provide the link down below, that did a rant, or an entry, if you will, on who they feel the real winners and losers of the recent arcs are. Now, you might say to yourself, well, what do they mean by that? Well, basically, I think it's more like characters and more so and stuff like that. But here's what this person says, and I quote, "As I have been reading the comics, I have noticed a few clear things. Like in everyday life, there are winners and there are losers. And I have noticed something like that in the arcs. I feel the need to talk about who I see are the real winners and losers are." Now, you might again ask yourself, well, what do they mean by that? Well, hold on. You'll see exactly what they mean in just a minute. The first winner of the arc, they say, is Amy Rose. And here's why this person says this, and I quote, "As much as I wanted Amy to get just a bit more panel time, I didn't want her to Okay, hold on. It says, as much as I wanted Amy to get just a bit more panel time, I didn't want to see her get it in this way. The way she got it, as we all know, was when Sally got roboticized, and she basically became the lead female for the short time. One thing I have noticed as well, since Ian took over the writing duties, she has become the biggest beneficiary of Ian's policy of quote-unquote shock value / shock and awe stories. For some reason, I think Sega has something to do with this. Now, it may be just the recent thought process of Sega is possibly and subtly getting more involved, but I have a feeling it's the reason why she gets more panel time. But my problem with Amy is that I see her as the ex you break up with that won't leave you alone because of the feelings, and she's kind of a creepy stalker at times, or sometimes. The only thing she thinks / cares and talks about is Sonic, and somehow people like her for that. Which also leads to the next winner. Okay, now I know people are going to hear this. I know Ezekiel 3000 is going to hear this. And Ezekiel, you are kind of right in what you're probably going to say. She does think more about other people. Basically Amy cares as much about the other people as she does Sonic. About those she protects as she does about Sonic. And you're correct in that, Ezekiel, when you hear this. When I hear you respond, you're correct in this. But here's the entire situation, though. Again, this is looking from the standpoint of longtime fans, that basically the way they see it, Amy getting panel time is great. I mean, that's what they're saying here. This is essentially what this person is saying is, hey, I don't have a problem with Amy Rose getting panel time. I'm all for it. I wanted to get more time. I wanted to have her more involved in the comics. But what they're saying here everybody, and including you, Ezekiel and Digimon, is us saying that they don't mind Amy getting panel time. In fact, they embrace it. They just didn't want her to get it at this expense. And they pretty much feel that it's more so maybe not just Ian, but more so Sega's involvement. And I'll get into that later on. But again, you know, it's everybody's got to, but let me repeat myself because I've said this in many of my other vids. Everybody's got a right to their opinion, and this is just this one individual's opinion. Now, continuing on. They say that the next winners, because of this whole Amy getting the spotlight the way she did, is the Son Amy winners. The Son Amy fans. And this is why they say that, and I quote. Yeah, and this is why they feel the Son Amy fans also benefit as the winners of this. And I quote. Yeah, they are definitely winners here, because now that Sally is temporarily a villain until the Deus Ex Machina de-roboticizing plant cures her. We think it's the plant, we don't know. Amy's more panel time gives this group of fans more reason to think Sonic and Amy will end up together. When a friend of mine, who is a huge Son Amy fan, read the past 2 arcs, he sent me a text saying, quote unquote, it's only a matter of time before Sonic and Amy are together. To which I replied, quote unquote, keep dreaming, Spielberg. We go at it all the time since I'm a huge Son Sally fan. But those fans think Sally's going to be out of the picture since she's a robot, and once she's free, she's going to go back to Kong, which I find highly unlikely. It wouldn't last long since Kong didn't do blank to help cure her. But they will take just the slightest bit of hope and they will use it as hard evidence. I'm actually beginning to think Flynn himself is a Sonic Amy supporter. I mean, why else would he pair Sally up with a guy who freaking kidnapped her? And on that note, the next winner is, and we'll get into that in a second. Now, first of all, about the whole Son Amy thing. Yes, everybody has a right to be a fan, and has the right and the freedom to be a fan of what they feel and be a shipper of what they feel needs to be shipped as a couple. But let us explain something once again. Anybody that has pretty much been following what's been going on, reading behind the scenes, hearing what Ian Flynn has said, heard what Paul Kaminsky has said. The thing is, as much as you want Sonic and Amy together, and hey, again, you have all the right to want that. You have all the right to want that. I mean, heck, take a look at my fan vid called Boyfriend. Take a look at my fan vid I did a year or 2 ago called Boyfriend. That fan vid that I did focused on all potential couples in the entire Sonic franchise. Not just SatAM, not just the comics, but the games. The games and Sonic X and whatnot. And in fan fiction, believe it or not. So, check that video out. You'll see that I don't mind either way depending on the continuity. But the fact is, ladies and gentlemen, it's been said countless times, even Ian Flynn, whether you like the guy or not, has said it, Paul Kaminsky has said it, that basically because of the mandate set down by Sega, Sonic and Amy cannot get together. Yes, you can have emoticons above Amy's head with a heart emoticon above Amy's head whenever Sonic's carrying her. Yeah, you can have that. But here's the deal. It's basically about her chasing after him. It's basically the chase. It's about the chase. How many times have we seen this in media? I ask you. Anyway. Yes, I understand where this person's coming from. I understand that. But again, just because you feel that way, it's your right to feel that way, but just because you feel that way doesn't mean you're correct on that assumption. Yeah, it may seem that way, but again, unless the issue finally ends, that's the only way. And everybody knows this. Unless the comic finally comes to an end in the near future, only then can comic book writers be freelanced in doing whatever the hell they want to do with the comic and the characters. Alright. Now they say the next winner, after I mention this, is Flynn and his legion of followers, dubbed Flynn Boys by some people. And this is what they say by it. I really don't need to talk about this one, do I? Flynn gets to write his shock value / shock and awe crap, while his fans say it's great work. Well, granted, it's better than some of the stuff Penders wrote. I can't believe I'm saying this. Penders left us. Okay. Let me start over. It says, I really don't need to talk about this one, do I? Flynn gets to write his shock value and shock and awe crap, while his fans say it's great work. Well, granted, it's better than some of the stuff Penders wrote, but I can't believe I'm saying this. Penders left us with some good arcs and memorable characters who are unfortunately gone. More on that a bit later. But seriously, I sometimes think Penders was better, though 134 and Mobius years later was terrible, than Flynn and vice versa. So yeah, basically what they're saying here, is even though Penders went downhill story-wise as he kept, writing and stuff, and there were a few exceptions of even worse stories that he's done. They have said, even they can't believe they had to say this. Penders, they said, at least gave us memorable stories and characters. Basically gave them some good arcs and characters, memorable characters. Now, again, it all depends on who you like, who you're a fan of. And basically what they say at the end of this part is, it's vice versa. It goes back and forth. Alright, now they look at the losers. Loser, because the loser in this whole situation, in these arcs, in their opinion, Sonic. And this is why they say that. And I quote. This is why they say this, and I quote. I feel bad for our brother in blue. He witnessed Sally get roboticized right in front of him. Nagas usurping the throne. Antron getting blown up and in his coma. His very uncharacteristic revelation that the freedom fighters are no more. And Silver's thinking everyone is the traitor. He did deserve a can of whoop-ass for always pestering about that. But he has been very uncharacteristic for a while now, and doesn't seem the way we all know him as. In my opinion, I don't see Sonic being treated well. Like he is not being written the way he should be written. There's been something off about him the last few arcs. I don't know. But that's what I've been seeing. Now speaking of Silver earlier. Okay. First of all, again, if Sega has anything to do with what's going on, it's mainly because they say, hey, look, this has got to be this way and that's got to be that way. You can't argue that. I mean, if they want Sonic to be almost like what he is in the games, then so be it. But even if this individual says that they feel Sonic's being very uncharacteristic in the way he's acting, you got to realize from a story standpoint, he's kind of hiding a lot of stuff deep within. Like he's kind of like right now they're on this World Tour 2 mission, whatever you want to call it, to save Sally. And yet, he acts all calm, cool, and collective, right? But here's the point. Here's the point, though. That's how he's got to act. You see, when you look at it from Sega's mandate wise, Sonic's got to be this cool, collected character that no matter how much shit is thrown at him by Eggman, no matter how much is done to try to take him down, Sonic's just going to shrug it off like, is that the best you got, Eggman? Come on, I know you can do better. Oops, sorry, you didn't do better there. Come on, give me something better. That's basically what it is. And if there is a situation to where when they finally get up to Eggman,